Welcome to the Fit Chicks and Hormones podcast, where we focus on all things midlife, hormones, and how to finally feel good in your body again. I'm Angie, a fellow midlife survivor, here to help you stop guessing and finally get results with hormone smart habits that actually work. Let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fit Chicks and Hormones podcast. I'm Angie Marone, your host. And today I want to talk about something that I have totally shifted when it comes to my mindset about this past year that's really helped my menopausal journey, and it's helped me feel so much better. It's also something that my clients are taking notice of, and they found that it's helped with their weight loss efforts and to help them get even better results. And so I'm talking about the effects of alcohol. So maybe you've noticed that one glass of wine that you used to be able to have kind of hits you a little bit harder than it used to, right? Or that Friday night drink is keeping you from seeing that scale move. And guess what? You're not imagining it. There's a reason for this. So today I want to talk about those reasons. And it's about the relationship between alcohol, your hormones, and your weight loss journey. And especially why it changes and why it's different in your perimenopausal and menopausal years. So I want to explain exactly why that glass of wine affects you differently than it did in your 20s. And what it's actually doing to your body when you're trying to lose weight. And most importantly, I'm going to share some strategies and alternatives that can work for you. Okay, so let's dive in. First, I want to start with the science, because I think understanding what's happening in your body is the first step to actually making changes that stick. Because when we understand what's happening, it's easier for us to shift that mindset to, okay, this makes sense now. Now I know what I need to do, okay? So your hormones and alcohol have a complicated relationship. And during menopause, it's like they get in a lot more, there's a lot more drama created, right? So here's what is happening. When you drink alcohol, your liver has to work overtime to process it. But your liver is also responsible for metabolizing estrogen. So when your liver is busy dealing with that glass of wine, trying to get rid of it, it can effectively clear the estrogen from your system. What happens is this leads to what we call estrogen dominance. I've talked about this before. I have a podcast on this if you want to go back and check it out. And so even when your overall estrogen levels are declining, it's still going to cause estrogen craziness because it's circulating through your body, right? And you might notice things like you'll have more bloating, you're going to have more mood swings, or you're going to gain more weight around your belly. Alcohol also suppresses your progesterone production. So progesterone is your calming hormone and your anti-anxiety hormone. It's what helps you get good sleep and helps you to keep your stress levels down. When alcohol suppresses your progesterone, you end up not sleeping at night, and you have a lot more anxiety, a lot more stress, right? Heightened stress response. Both of these things are going to make weight loss even harder. And then our not so fun friend called cortisol, right? Talk about cortisol a lot. Initially, cortisol lowers your cortisol. Initially, alcohol lowers your cortisol. And that's why when you have a drink, you feel relaxed, right? But here's the catch. A few hours later, there's a cortisol rebound, and your stress hormone spikes, often in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep. And this is why you wake at 3 a.m. and you feel maybe anxious or you can't sleep. I know the other night when I had a drink, and I had a drink maybe 3 hours before bed, but I laid down and my heart was pounding so hard, it was crazy. I had to use some essential oils to kind of calm my system down, but it was awful. I don't like that feeling. I'm trying to go to sleep. My heart shouldn't be pounding really fast, right? And that can happen after just one drink. And this does happen to me often when I do have one drink. I shouldn't say often because I don't drink as much anymore, but when I do have a drink, it definitely happens to me. And another thing is alcohol consumption increases insulin resistance. This means your body becomes less efficient at using glucose for energy, and instead it stores it as body fat, especially around your belly. Okay? So why is all of this getting worse during menopause? Well, we talked about the hormones declining, right? So those are already declining. So your ovaries are producing less estrogen, and estrogen. Your metabolism is slowing down due to decreased muscle mass, which you're just losing naturally. And your liver is already working harder to process the hormonal changes that are happening in your body. So it's like trying to balance on one foot on a pile of rocks. Alcohol is just making everything in your body more unstable. So now let's talk about what alcohol is actually doing when it comes to you when you're trying to lose weight. This is where I see a lot of women get frustrated, and it's disheartening for me. You know what, breaks my heart, because they're working so hard, doing all the things. They're doing this, they're eating good, they're working out, they're doing all the things, but they're still continuing to have that drink, that alcohol during the week, or having 3 or 4 or 5 drinks on the weekend, right? Your body treats alcohol as a toxin. So when you drink, your metabolism literally stops burning fat, and it prioritizes burning alcohol. So you're having a drink, instead of it burning the body fat, it's got to get rid of that alcohol, right? Because it's a toxin. It has to get rid of it. And this isn't just for the hour when you're drinking. This can last 12 to 24 hours. So when you have a glass of wine on Friday night, it's actually affecting your metabolism through the next day, all the way till the end of the day. And this is why during the day you may feel brain foggy, maybe you feel tired, maybe you feel cranky, maybe you have cravings, right? Your body just feels off because it's a toxin in your body. And if you didn't know this, alcohol contains 7 calories per gram. That's almost as much as eating fat, which has 9 calories per gram. But here's the thing. Your drink has completely zero, it's empty calories. So it has no nutritional value for you. It's doing nothing for you other than you think it's calming you down and making you feel relaxed. But it's not even the calories that are the worst part of the alcohol. It also, and I'm sure you know this, it increases your hunger hormones and reduces the hormones that tell you that you're full. So maybe you're on the weekend, you're having a couple drinks with friends, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. Well, you don't know when to stop eating because you're over hungry and you just eat and eat and eat and eat, right? It's not just 1 or 2 bites, you continue to eat. So what's happening is you're adding empty calories from the alcohol plus empty calories from the pizza or the chips or whatever, because when we drink, we don't want to eat healthy food. Nobody wants to eat chicken and broccoli. It's all the stuff that we're not supposed to be eating, right? Alcohol is literally making you hungrier and reducing your ability to feel full. So you just keep eating more. And that's when the extra calories come in, right? And then there's the sleep. This is where I feel it the most. And I just mentioned that earlier, and I hear a lot of women complaining about their sleep. Even 1 drink can mess up your sleep. Even 1. And I hear people say, but it helps me to fall asleep. It helps me to sleep. And I'm like, doesn't really. It may help you fall asleep, but it actually prevents you from reaching a deep, restful, restorative sleep, which is what your body and your hormones need. Poor sleep leads to elevated cortisol. And the next day, what happens? We have more cravings for the high carb, the high sugary foods. I remember all the time when I was in college, and we would go out and drink. The next morning, I wanted pizza. I wanted Burger King. I wanted French fries. All the greasy, fatty food, because that's what helped me feel better, right? We don't want chicken and broccoli the day after we drink a lot of alcohol, and it becomes this vicious cycle that we can't stop. So I want to paint you a picture of what this looks like in real life. So what is actually happening from the time you take your first drink? Okay, let's say you have a glass of wine with dinner. And what happens is your body stops burning fat for the next 12 to 24 hours. Your sleep gets disrupted. You don't sleep really well. You wake up throughout the night, maybe 1 or 2 times. Maybe you can't fall back to sleep. And you wake up with elevated cortisol levels. So you're craving the carbs and the sugar. So you grab whatever's available, not thinking about if it's healthy or not. And you're tired. So what do you want? You want more caffeine. You want more quick energy foods. You want more carbohydrates, more sugar. So your blood sugar is all over the place, which affects your hormones, which affects your cravings, which affects your choices. Does this sound familiar? I bet it does. I've been there. I know. I've done it. Alcohol also increases inflammatory markers in your body. So if you are somebody who already has inflammation going on, you're just piling on more inflammation. Chronic inflammation slows down your metabolism and it makes it harder for you to lose weight. I've talked about inflammation. I have podcasts on those if you want to go back and listen. It also damages your gut bacteria, okay? And we know that gut health is crucial for maintaining healthy weight or for losing weight and for balancing your hormones. Okay. So this is the thing I want you to understand. It's not just about the calories, right? Because, whatever. It's not so much about the calories because you can drink better alternatives that have less calories. I do. I usually choose seltzers if I do. And not so much that because I don't do gluten. I don't like all the sugar anyway. So it's not so much the calories, but it's about the effects on your body that can last for days and days and days. The one drink that leads to poor sleep, which leads to elevated cortisol, that leads to increased cravings, which leads to more food intake, more calorie intake, which leads to blood sugar spikes and more inflammation. And this all leads to slower metabolism and less weight loss. Probably even weight gain. Okay? And this is why I often hear from women, they swear, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing all the things. I'm eating good. I'm exercising. I'm managing my stress. But they're still having an alcoholic beverage a couple nights a week, a couple nights on the weekend. This is that one piece that they're missing out on. And when I take a look at, how many alcoholic drinks did you have this last week? That's where the missing piece is coming from. That's what's happening. That's why their weight loss is stalling. Okay, so, one second. So maybe you're wondering, well, how much alcohol is too much? If you're trying to lose weight, is it one glass? Is it one drink? Is it 5 glasses? Is it 5 drinks? Well, the research says that for women, no more than 1 drink per day is considered safe. But here's what the research doesn't tell you. During perimenopause and menopause, even that might be too much if weight loss is your goal. If you're trying to lose weight, even having 1 drink a day is too much. Here's what is going to keep you from seeing progress, okay? Daily consumption. So you're having a drink every single day. Binge drinking patterns. So you're saving your drinks for the weekend and then you're having 6 to 8 drinks. Drinking close to bedtime. This is one thing I definitely have a cutoff time. I try to cut because I've become a mid-afternoon drinker. Not that I drink a lot because I really have cut back and hardly drink at all anymore. But even just in the past year, I've cut back, and in the past couple years, I do not drink. I try not to drink anything past 5 o'clock because I know that it's going to affect my sleep. So don't drink too late in the day. If you are in a fat loss phase, so you've cut your calories because you're actually trying to lose body fat and lose weight. If you're drinking, you're already cutting calories low, which is a stress on the body, right? It just is. But if you're adding alcohol on top of that, it's going to be even more stress and you're not going to see fat loss. So if you are really trying to cut and we've cut calories, you can't lose weight. You can't drink alcohol on top of that. Okay? So maybe for that time you're in that fat loss phase, you cut out the alcohol. Okay, let's say you want to have a drink here or there. Okay? Know this. Your progress is not going to be as quickly as you want it to. It's not going to happen as fast as you want it to. Because if every week you're making progress and then you have alcohol on the weekend, your body has to take almost the whole next week to recover. It's not going to be able to process and burn the fat off, okay? But if you're like, I just want to have 1 or 2 here or there, let's talk about that, okay? Your progress is going to be slower, but you need to cut it down to maybe 1 to 2 drinks per week. Choose lower sugar options. And I'm going to talk about those in a minute. Drink earlier in the evening. Like I said, I have a 5 o'clock cutoff time, so maybe you become an early afternoon drinker. ensure that you're well hydrated. So drink lots of water, okay? Now I want to be clear, I'm not saying you can't have alcohol. I'm not saying it's totally your choice, just like it's my choice. I did a post on this a couple weeks ago about how, you know what, I'm okay with that. My husband can have a couple drinks when we go out for lunch. I don't need anything. He can sit at home and relax and have a drink or two. I don't need anything. I'll do a CBD drink. I'll do just a sparkling water. I don't need the alcohol. But that doesn't need to be you, okay? But I am going to tell you that if you continue to add the alcohol in, it's going to make weight loss even harder if that's what you're trying to accomplish. Not only that, but it's really not going to help your hormones either. So something to think about if you're having a lot of hormonal symptoms going on right now. Maybe cutting it out, trying it for 30 days, seeing how you feel. Where you're at right now, depending on what your goals are, you're just going to have to decide what's more important at this season in your life. Okay? I had a client who was stuck at the same weight for months. She was doing all the things. She really was. But she wanted to have her 1 to 2 glasses of wine on the weekend. And I said, this is we're not making progress. Let's cut that out for 30 days and see what happens. And she actually lost 8 pounds, and her energy improved so much because she was getting better sleep, right? Her body wasn't constantly have to break down the alcohol. It was actually able to do all the things she needed for it. So, and after that, when she reached her goals, when she got to the point where she was at, she was able to have an occasional drink here and there, okay? But she was more intentional about it. She didn't just drink just to drink. For me, I'm like, you know what, we're going to go hang out with friends and I want to have a drink with them. Or, you know what, it's a long weekend, like last weekend was a holiday. I'm going to have a drink or two. But if it's just a normal week for me, it doesn't really matter to me. I really don't need it. It's not necessary, okay? Okay, so if that's you, you're not completely willing to give it up. Kind of like myself, like I said, I have a drink here and there. I can have it on the weekend or not. And that works for me. Most often for myself, it's just not worth it anymore. It does not make me feel good. And even my husband has noticed this. He even told me that. He's like, I can't drink as much as I used to. It doesn't make me feel good. So it's kind of nice that we're on the same page here. And here's the thing I don't think some people understand is you don't know how good you can feel until you cut back or until you give it up. Because your body's constantly in that cycle of your liver's constantly trying to, detox your body. When you give it up for a while and your body doesn't have to work so hard to detox, you actually are going to feel better. But again, you're not going to know that until you give it a try. But let's say you want to have an occasional drink, right? Let's just make some better choices. Different alcohol is going to affect you in different ways, especially when it comes to your hormones and when it comes to weight loss. So here are some options that maybe you can choose that are a little bit different. So if you like and enjoy wine, stick to dry wines like Pinot Grigio, an unoaked Chardonnay. If you like reds, do a Pinot Noir or a Cabernet Sauvignon. I think I said that right. These are the best ones for you, right? Avoid the sweet wines, the white wines that are so sweet, but those are the ones we like, but they're not serving you. Wine coolers, no. The flavored wines, no. These are all loaded with sugar, okay? If you're doing mixed drinks, your best choices are vodka, gin, tequila, and make sure it's 100% agave tequila and whiskey. Not my favorite. Actually, I won't even drink it. And mix these with soda water, fresh lime or lemon, cucumber or herbs, not with all the sugary mixes or the sodas or the fruit juices. Tonic water has sugar in it as well. So look for that. They do have diet tonic water. My husband and I used to use that, but there's also artificial sweeteners in it. So there is that, but it would have less sugar in it, okay? So mixed drinks, try for better options. If you need to have your beer, I cannot do gluten. I just can't. I had a beer a few weeks ago, and it just was not good. It was not good at all. It was even lighter beer. But if you love beer, go for light beers or lower carb options. Excuse me. Hard seltzers. These are a good thing. This is what I do, but make sure you check the ingredients. Sometimes they can have a lot of sugar in them, artificial sweeteners. So try to stay away from those. Kombucha has a lower alcohol content and can be gut friendly. So, but again, watch the sugar content. It's a lot about sugar when it comes to alcohol. And then portion control, right? Use smaller glasses. So this is not your normal wine glass. Usually they're bigger and people will fill them half full. How about you do this and just put half of there or a fourth of it, right? You alternate with water. Make sure you're drinking at least 8 ounces of water for every alcoholic drink. I always have my water bottle with me, and I have an alcoholic drink, and I'm drinking my water in between, okay? It just helps to flush it through your system better. Eat something when you're having a drink. So don't just drink all day and forget to eat and then eat on the junk food later in the day. Have a protein high meal first and then drink. Have an alcoholic drink or two. This slows down the alcohol absorption in your body, okay? It helps your body process it better. And then kind of set a weekly limit and track it. How do you feel? Pay attention to how's your sleep, how's your energy, do you have brain fog, things like that. Are you having a lot more cravings? And how do you feel different just in your body, okay? And if you're done with drinking, you don't need it, but you would like a special drink at the end of a long week, sometimes I will do CBD drinks, something that is kind of just different from normal water, right, with lemon. I do have a mocktail guide that I can send you for some ideas, some low sugar mocktail ideas. If you want that, just reach out to me on Instagram or on Facebook and say mocktails, and I will send that out to you, okay? Again, just some different options. When you really want to have something with whoever you're with, but you don't want to add all the sugar or have the effects of alcohol. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If there's anything I want you to take away from today, it's that alcohol affects your hormones more significantly during menopause than it ever did before. Even the smallest amounts can affect your weight loss progress. And the quality of what you choose matters more than the quantity. But honestly, less is more when it comes to your health goals. So here's a challenge for you to week, like I was just talking about. Choose one change to implement. So maybe it's switching out your Wednesday wine for a mocktail, or maybe it's eliminating alcohol for a whole week, including the weekend. Or maybe it's for 30 days. I did 30 days, and it really wasn't hard for me because I wasn't drinking that much. But again, then you're gonna notice how your body responds. How are your energy levels? How is your sleep? How are your moods? How are your cravings? Your body's gonna give you feedback. You just have to listen to it. And maybe you'll get to a stage of, I really don't need it. Or I can just have an occasional drink. Because right now my priority is feeling better in my body and shedding this weight so that I can fit into my clothes and feel more confident. And it's not about perfection, because again, there's no such thing as that. It's just about making progress. It's about being consistent. It's about making educated choices to what's going to make your body feel the best in this next chapter of your life. So if you found this useful, please share it with another woman who might need to hear it. And if you want support on your hormone health journey, I do offer 30-minute strategy sessions where we talk about what you're struggling with, what your goals are, what things you've been trying, and maybe talk about some ideas and come up with a plan to help you feel better in your body right now and for the next 10, 20 years to come. So the link to set up that strategy call is in the show notes. You can click on that, and I would love to chat with you. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. If today's episode hit home, make sure to subscribe to the show and share it with a friend who needs it too. And if you're ready for more support, come hang out with us in the Fit Chicks and Hormones community. The link is in the show notes. And until next time, keep showing up for yourself. You deserve it.